If you run n8n workflow automation with MCP features, patch now. CVE 2026-77068 affects n8n before 2.33.4 and 2.34.x before 2.34.1, and NVD rates it high at CVSS 8.7. An authenticated global member can trigger code execution in the n8n main process through MCP node-schema loading. Also check Splunk MCP Server, Unstructured document ingestion, and LangBot. The action today is patch, restrict who can configure MCP, and review service credentials. Lead item, CVE 2026-77068 in n8n. NVD says the remote code execution issue is in the n8n workflow SDK node schema loader used for MCP node schema loading. The unsafe pattern is that a node type string can influence the schema module path without proper path traversal validation. In practical terms, a low-privileged authenticated user with global member permissions may be able to make the server load malicious files and execute code in the main n8n process. The fix is n8n 2.33.4, and for the 2.34 line, 2.34.1 or later. Defenders should upgrade, limit global member accounts, review workflows added around the exposure window, and rotate tokens if the n8n host had access to sensitive integrations. Second, CVE 2026-76404 affects the Splunk MCP Server app below version 1.2.1. NVD lists CVSS 9.1 critical. The advisory says a user with the admin Splunk role could execute arbitrary commands on the underlying operating system because missing input validation in a credential management component allows unsafe deserialization of stored data. This is not a random internet bug because it requires Splunk admin privileges, but Splunk admins often sit close to logs, detections, and incident response data. Upgrade the app to 1.2.1 or later, audit admin role membership, and review app configuration changes. Third, CVE 2026-71428 affects the unstructured library used to ingest and preprocess PDFs, HTML, Word documents, Markdown, images, and text for AI and data pipelines. NVD rates it critical, CVSS 9.3. Versions from 0.4.7 until 0.24.0 can fetch a supplied URL without adequate host validation in partition functions. If an ingestion service accepts attacker-controlled URLs, the server may request loopback addresses, internal HTTP services, or cloud metadata endpoints through direct targets, redirects, or DNS rebinding, with response bodies returned as element text. Upgrade to Unstructured 0.24.0 and enforce allow lists for document fetching services. Fourth, CVE 2026-54449 affects LangBot, a global IAM bot platform designed for LLMs version 4.10.7 and earlier allow any authenticated user to add or change an STDIO MCP server configuration without enough authorization boundaries. Because that configuration starts a server-side subprocess, an account holder could execute commands as the LangBot service. NVD rates it high, CVSS 8.8, and says no fixed version is available as of the review. Until a fix is available, disable self-service MCP configuration, restrict signups, isolate the service, and monitor process launches. Checklist, upgrade n8n, Splunk MCP Server, and Unstructured, restrict MCP configuration, segment automation hosts, monitor child processes and outbound requests, rotate exposed secrets.